Hi, Maya. Can we give a round of applause for Maya, please? I feel like Badshah today. A mix of Badshah, Diler Mehendi, drag king. Hi, Ram.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm
Are we
very
just
good.
going to hear chit chat and just be like,
Yeah, we're just gonna
hi?
chit chat. This is just conversational.
Yeah.
And
After such a
jumping,
fantastic conversation by Akai, and
yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, that was quite amazing.
So we all have talked about bringing your whole self to work, and
Uh
a
huh.
lot about coming out at work, like being gay. But even when you are coming out, there's still a set narrative. You still have to be a man. You can't be a gay man, but you still have to be a man. You could be a lesbian, but you still have to be a woman. Like there's still an expectation. You break all of that. How
I
the
don't.
hell?
I don't. Maya breaks a lot of that.
Absolutely, she
Yeah.
does. But how is it? How is it to break all those expectations? Be out there, be so you.
Oh, okay. Well, because I don't give a giant F. Um, Thank you. You can applause to that. No, it was. See, listen. We all know that gender is a construct, and it's such a binary way of thinking that you have to be a certain way and you have to fit a certain mold. I think I broke a lot of those molds when I was born. And I think that earlier on in my life, I was in an all-boys Catholic school, and we were doing drag when we were like little children. And I was very happy doing it. And I was, in fact, doing it in a way that I was paying homage to my very strong women that were in my life. And then I think I learned very early on that you can remove yourself from what's going on in society and actually make fun of gender, because that's what drag does. And that's sort of my obsession came with drag. And then when I started working, I was working in a very sort of progressive organization. I have more women in my board than the men. So I'm the token man in the board, is what I constantly say. And when you have a fabulous person like my mother, who is my boss, who's willing to dance in drag at my wedding, I think that it starts a lot from there. I keep using this dialogue from Parmesh. He keeps talking about tops and bottoms, where change. Of course, a gay man has to bring up that. Where you talk about change, change comes a lot in companies from the top. And then when I walk into my boardroom, I walk in with my purse first. Uh, you know, and that's how it's done. And then we talking about conversations, a lot of change in my company happened by having those tough conversations. We started our journey with a lot of sensitization across the group. I have 12 hotels in India and a hotel in London. We never shied away from conversations and taking feedback. Also working very closely with a lot of activists, NGOs, to be able to have those sensitization conversations in all regional languages, by the way. It wasn't just an English-speaking thing. We made it a point that it was drilled down from all our RLs. And then after that, the journey continued because one of my team members, because of those conversations, decided to transition, felt comfortable enough to be working for Kidisu, to transition. And then it was the journey of Hamza and how she became Mahi that led my entire company to really realize the concept of gender and what you're born and what you actually really are. And that's how it made me realize that it's very important for my company to have representation and to have representation from all across, managerial positions all the way down, uh, to make sure that people realize and see that we are living and breathing, and to be able to touch us and feel us, in a good sense, of course. And then came, of course, my nightclub and Kirisu, and then came in my life Maya, who, whenever Maya wants to come as Anish, comes as Anish. Can I say Anish? That's Maya's real name, by the way. And whenever wants to come as Maya, comes as Maya, and then hence born were these drag army of queer kids who really wanted to express gender. And now we have, drag kings, drag queens. I think we have over 40 queens, I think maybe too many, shameless children, that perform every Thursday at Kiddie Sue, and that also perform on mainstream nights like Saturdays. Does that answer the question?
Kind of.
Kind of? Okay.
So we'll take one audience question in this, so just have your question ready, and we'll just get one question. Personally, I get it that, and there was a supporting mother, and you felt the organization was
She wasn't
supporting.
always supporting, by the way. It took a long way to get that support.
To be you, but for an organization, from a business perspective, how was it? Like, you definitely stand out as a hotel. I mean, now you stand out in a good way, in a great way, that so many LGBT people want to be here, feel LaLiT is a home. But was it a journey from being a hotel to being the gay hotel to now the hotel?
It's actually really good for business. If I just give you a simple business case, my nightclub in Delhi is now running in its 8 years of operation, Kiddie Sue, and it should technically have died because, 5 years on, it's the shelf life of a nightclub. But it's because of the LGBTQ community, because of us, that the club now is successfully running in its 8th year of operation, and it's going to probably be successfully running without a single piece of renovation for the next 10 years. When I brought Violet Chachki from RuPaul's Drag Race for the first time, 1,900 people turned up. Now when Maya does a gig on a Saturday night, 2,000 people turn up, right? Yes. And then, of course, look at it. This job fair is happening at this hotel. You have given us business, right? So thank you, Ram, for giving that business to us. A round of applause for my customer. And a pretty decent piece of business. And I'm guessing you did that because of what we do at the LaLiT. I'm guessing you did that because of all the changes that we have brought as a company, not just me, and not just my petition or my marriage or my conversations, but actually what separates the LaLiT. And that's why I think everyone is happy to spend at the LaLiT from the communities, because we put our money where our mouth is. And I think that's what a lot of corporates need to do. As far as the community goes, the power of the pink economy, I'm sure you all are fully aware of, is huge, and not just in India, but across the world. I just did a Pride night in London, and in fact, out of all the nights, I've been open this hotel for 2 years, but this was the night where we made the maximum in terms of revenue, but also in terms of happiness index. And we're a fiercely loyal community. All we need is respect and dignity. As far as business is concerned, it's actually been really, and I would love to do a case study on the LaLiT, because it's really pushed the LaLiT into the 21st century. It's actually put us on the map. We may not be the best hotel when it comes to service or product, though my team will kill me. But you guys should say, no, you are. Yeah, wake up, audience. He's not given you enough of coffee. So no, yes, we are. But anyway, we might not be the best in terms of service and product, but we definitely are number one when it comes to inclusion, especially when it comes to LGBTQ community. And the proof is that I've got over 66 team members that are openly out of which 35 of them are trans, living their true selves, working in my company because of my various... Probably one of the highest, or I think in the hospitality industry, the only in the country, maybe even in the world. We're also the only company that has open trans men, one of them who is speaking today, Mohul. And we're probably the only company that actually makes our drag artists, puts them and gives them more importance than our heterosexual people. So as far as rankings go, that is one thing that I told my team, that I want to be the #1 hotel chain, not just in India, but in the world, for the community. Because we are for the community, by the community. And I think that's achievable. And that's where we're going towards.
Talking about business and why we chose LaLiT, one reason was that people feel LaLiT is home. And it's not just the top leadership talking about inclusion and having the policies right, having the comments right, but the entire staff has exposure, significant exposure and interaction with the LGBT community. So we wanted to create an experience where everyone feels welcome. They feel like they can be themselves, however you want to come, however you identify, and no one, whether someone is ushering you in or giving you a badge or giving you a glass of water, no one should give you a look which will make you feel.
Absolutely. But for heterosexuals, I don't mind giving them looks.
So, and we felt that LaLiT is probably the only space where the entire staff has that kind of exposure that will make it feel welcome and home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's also got to do with the fact that, beyond just making it a capitalist kind of venture, we actually went with a heart. I remember I put out this, I said, why, if you spend money at the LaLiT, you are supporting trans inclusion. You're supporting acid attack survivors, because we have rehabilitated a lot of acid attack survivors, given them jobs as well, given us jobs. And also, one of them was Sonia, who transitioned and then was thrown acid upon because she was trans. We support the differently abled community. We're the only nightclub in the country that has a differently abled DJ who is also in the Limca Book of World Records. Of course, reading down a section 377, fighting for marriage equality at some point. So, I mean, these are the things. So, please do spend your money with us, because at least you know where your money is going in the right place. Beyond that, we also started our own foundation, the Keshav Suri Foundation, which brought the It Gets Better India program, where we share stories, not just of our team members, but also of everybody, about their coming out to tackle bullying. This project was started basically to sensitize children, to sensitize all the kids and the educators that, you know what, because there's so many teenage suicides, and that's a big conversation that's happening right now also in India. So that was one of the reasons why we did that. And of course, through the foundation, we've worked with a lot of, again, NGOs, and we're giving a lot of sponsorship, doing Pride. So I think that we've shown also that we're beyond just a capitalist kind of, we want to only take money from the community. We're giving back a lot as well to us. Again, because we are for us, by us.
Thank you. Time for that one question. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So,
Oh, hi,
hello.
Parmesh.
Is this on? Yeah.
How are you?
Very good. And thank you so much. And my question is about privilege. And it's something that I think you've been struggling with as well. So I want you to have this therapy session on stage with us.
Oh, wow.
How do you deal
Hi,
with
Oprah.
Hi.
How are you, Oprah?
Talking to Dr. Phil right now and hope she can save me. How do you deal with the burden of privilege?
Yeah.
Because over the past few years, whether it's everything, people come to you.
Yeah.
So one is there's only so much that you can do given the resources that you have.
I know, I need more money. Yeah.
Correct. But besides that, so how do you deal with so much expectation from the community, with the world outside, thinking of you only as gay Keshav Suri? And then how can you translate that, maybe your lessons, into something that, because this is also a pretty privileged audience, right?
Yeah.
So how can we all perhaps use the privileges that we have to do good? Because I think you're using your privilege in whichever way you can. Many of us aren't. So can you just talk a little bit about how we can translate?
Okay, well, thanks for that. Thanks for putting me on the spot. But yes, I heard that a lot about privilege. I think that one thing that I say is, firstly, I hate the word privilege. But it's important for people to take cognizance of their own privilege, if that's what we think, and then use that for something good, something beyond their own selfish need. Of course, it was a little bit of my selfish need to fight for my equality and then my husband's equality. But I think what I did was just be a conduit to open doors. right? It was the same with my petition. When you had the former Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi take on my petition, who, by the way, was representing the BJP just a couple of months before that, it sort of opened a lot of doors and conversations to be had. I think that if we all have a certain amount of privilege. I absolutely agree with you. I think the best part is that use that privilege for something beyond just yourselves. And that could be just being positive on social media. That could be just talking and sensitizing people on a daily basis about the LGBTQ community and about just general beyond that. I mean, I am not just a gay Keshav, I'm actually a hotelier. And I did have to, I make it sound all easy, but it wasn't as easy as I make it sound like. I mean, I went through a lot of struggle. We're talking about my parents, we're talking about, my family. It wasn't like I was born and I was like, hey, I'm gay and it's all rainbows and kisses. No, even in the beginning of my relationship with Cyril, it was difficult to explain to my family. We, kind of almost had a Bollywood drama. But in the end, I managed to convince not just my mother, but myself also to truly love myself. And then to also take the fact that if I can bring about a tiny amount of change, and you're absolutely right, because it's a tiny amount of change. I'm not Bill Gates, and I'm not Mr. Mukesh Ambani, and though I might have had the only wedding that mattered last year. Just saying. Thank you. I do live for the applause. But it's true. I mean, Priyanka, who? Would have been nice if she was here. But, I think that it's important for us to take cognizance of the privilege. And one thing that I really want to do is taking through my foundation, and I was discussing this with Devdutt as well, that maybe come up with a sort of ranking mechanism like a Stonewall does in UK to actually talk about how companies and how inclusive they are, and do a sort of top 10 and make all the privileged people fight amongst each other to do good. Right? So actually get companies to be able to put their money where their mouth is in terms of inclusion, instead of just putting rainbow flags, actually do something about it. And Ram wants to do that with me as well. So we're making that announcement now, yes?
Yes.
But that's how you do it, right? Get everyone to fight with each other like Game of Thrones style and use that privilege for something good. And listen, we've had enough studies to know that, having an organization that is inclusive is just basically better for you. It's better for the economy. It's better for the company. And yeah, does that answer your question? Did I ramble on enough? No?
Thank you so much, Keshav,
Thank
for joining
you.
us. Can we have a please round of applause for Keshav?
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, have a look at our stall. We have Better Nonstop at our stall. I wouldn't have thought, and I'm sure Maya would agree on this, that drag becoming a full-fledged career. And this is even from within the community. The drag community always got so much of flack, and then never really full acceptance. But because of Kitty Sue, and of course of RuPaul's Drag Race, we've actually managed to give full-fledged careers to drag queens. So if anybody is interested being a drag performer, drag king, come to our stall and see how it works. We pay well.
Yes. Thank you